I mean, you name your country and I'll tell you that the 7 bad ideas they came up with, Wahhabism, I mean, Salafis, I mean, you know, Al-Qaeda. It's an idea. I mean, again, it's a mythical construct about some sort of caliphate that'll happen in the future, no facts.
Put the Tea Party in.
Tea Party, well, I mean, you know, I get it. They're upset and they have, you know, they can just put on their George Washington suit and just, you know, hate the people that run America, but love America at the same time. I get it. I mean, they're sad. I'm upset about all the things they're upset about, but they just have this notion that, you know, anything that deviates from a document written in 1770 is wrong. I love giving those people the Jefferson Bible, though. I'm like, you know, your precious founding fathers did not love Jesus. Like, they're like, what do you mean? I mean, it just, that we've turned them into Christians amazes me. Forgive me. Like, the founding fathers were a lot of things, but like, you know, committed Church of Christ goers, they were not that. I mean, Jefferson literally wrote a Bible in which he took scissors and cut out every miracle. It's like a pamphlet. It's amazing. Like, it's a more rational story, I have to say, but I mean, just this idea that, you know, the founding fathers wanted us to be a Judeo-Christian nation that owes China $2 trillion and takes the moon over. I mean, is that what they were about? Slavery?
Yeah. There's a genetic component, but you said ever since we've been civilized, you know, thus maybe Egypt, right? You've had this
so
type
old.
of giant religious thing, whether it's nationalism or a movement or communism. How do we get out of it? How do we learn our way?
I mean, ultimately, I'd love to say education, but that usually is in the hands of the state. Like, that's what makes the French become French because of the French educational system. Because they don't really speak French either, but in the 19th century, they just get it beaten into them by every schoolmaster in France. You know, educate yourselves. Don't be a joiner. I mean, but I know that's not a popular position to take. I mean, you look at the National Socialist regime, one of the main ways people got in trouble is they would refuse to adopt the Hitler greeting. And everyone knew, everyone in the room is doing this, and you're the one going. I mean, you see that in Cabaret. Like, everyone's singing that song, and there's that old man, like, you people are flipping nuts, like sitting there with his beer, and everyone looks at him like, you don't want to be that guy, do you?
It's like the Pledge of Allegiance.
Or middle school. Oh no, it's like the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah,
you're gonna be the kid who doesn't sing it. It's difficult to sort of break with these things, and like it upsets your parents, and especially your grandparents who, we fought Hitler to end slavery on Mars, and the Eagles, and you're like, I don't care about any of that. But I mean, there's a huge generation gap, I think, between
I
us.
don't know how we get out of that.
I don't know.
Populism and
Lose a catastrophic war against the United States, meaning ourselves? I don't know. I mean, that's what sobered up the Germans, was getting America punching them in the mouth a few times, and the Soviets, and Japan. Japan is a country where literally,
incredible religious empire.
and now Japan is a country where barely a third of Japanese would lay down their life for their country. Even if it were being attacked in polls, or like, even if we're attacked, even if it's by Godzilla, we're just gonna let it happen. And, well, no, they got real excited in the 40s. That's what I'm like, I mean, when you convince yourself that the way to help the nation is to get 16-year-olds to crash their airplanes into things, I mean, that represents somewhat of a malfunction of nationalist ideology. And Buddhism, by the way. Which I know we think of Buddhism as a religion of peace. Robin, you had a question.
Did Brian have a question?
I don't know.
I was going to make a comment about North Korea, but
It's very special.
that's not a secular religion, is it? That's just a normal religious system, because Kim
It's borderline, you know, it has
Yeah.
blatant religious overtones.
Kim
Yeah, of course.
Il-sung is still the leader of the government there, and he's
Absolutely.
been dead for
It's a
decades.
nectocracy.
Zombie Lenin, I mean, you know,
It's a nectocracy. It's one short of a trinity.
they're working on it.
They're working on it.
Kim Il-sung is Kim Il-fun. I mean, it's, yeah. Poor North Korea. Ultimately, it only hurts themselves, but
I have a solution.
yes, what is it?
Put more women in charge.
I concur with that. That is one of the common denominators. Oh, yeah.
I have that discussion with my wife all the time. She says if
Agreed.
only women ran the world, it'd be much more peaceful. And she didn't know my mother, whose favorite weapon was a wooden spoon. Broke more than the freaking things over our heads. Human nature is human nature. If women ran the world, it wouldn't be any different at all. There are just as many psychopaths, sociopaths, drunks, perverts out there who are male as female.
I agree with that, but I have to say the amount of, like, every one of these ideas was dripping in patriarchy. Like the French Revolutionary ideal, the compact, like the unstated agreement between the bourgeoisie and the peasants, the one thing we can all agree on that makes us citizens is that we are not women. There are entire books about this, that the French Revolutionary ideal was founded at women's expense. And women noticed. I mean, yeah, Mary Wollstonecraft was like, hey, could we maybe? No, you're not gonna let us do anything, screw you.
Coalition violence is a male, it's a male occupation.
I mean,
Don't do that.
The hierarchies we're talking about so far have always been male dominated. I would love to live in a world where we could find out.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're right. Bring on that world where I get to see women behaving as badly as men. Margaret Thatcher. I mean, you're right. The women have come to power so far are just become the power structure. But I mean, again, we're talking about systems that systematically ignore, at minimum, 51% of the population. In the Italian case, the Italian franchise in 1865 was 2%. Now, most of you can piss off. Like, 2% of Italians who know Italian, raise your hand. Women, put your hands back down. All right, what do we want for everyone? I mean, that's how it worked. I mean, we didn't let him vote for, 150 years? Like, I suppose you can vote because it'll get rid of liquor. Which is one of the big arguments, but we don't have to get into prohibition, which was women using their electoral power, actually. So, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You could put that on the bottom of every one of these slides. It seemed like a good idea when they tried it. not maybe a shocking moment,
supposed to eat it.
Other questions about Italy or the Soviet Union or eagle power? Let's go back to this. So terrifying. Our national, it's a bird that eats carrion. I mean, it's like, even Ben Franklin's like, this is not a dignified animal. Now, I don't know if the turkey would have been. I think our national history might have been so different if we had this thing with like a dewlap hanging down. When it rains, it opens its mouth and drowns. I don't know, but we got this thing.
Thanksgiving sure would be
There's this great picture, I should have put it in here, from World War I, of an American bald eagle tearing up a Prussian eagle. It's like an Air Force ad. It's like eagle on eagle crime, but the bald eagle, because of its gleaming white head, is more powerful. And it's freedom. It's freedom fries. We did that same thing in World War I. They turned sauerkraut into Liberty cabbage. There's nothing new under the sun, man. Nothing new under the sun. German toast became French toast. That's why it's delicious. It's secretly German. Like the dynasty in England changed their name to be less German. St. Petersburg became Petrograd. Like, how do we make everything in the world as non-German as possible? The Germans' counterpoint was, how about we make everything in the world German? They got first runner-up 2 world wars in a row. So, you gotta give it to them, they had spirit. So, but they messed with the bald eagle and the Soviets.
And the problem was the Soviets, not the Americans.
I know. But we didn't have, believe me, the Soviets caused 80% of the casualties, but we also destroyed every city in the country. Believe me, we did our part. We killed like 600,000 civilians, man. Don't take anything away from our willingness to completely bomb Germany back to the Stone Age. The Soviets did all the heavy lifting and took all the casualties, but in terms of just turning Germany into a moonscape, USA. No, you're right. The Soviets killed 80% of the Germans that died in that war. But that's, as one historian put it, a case where Europe's most genocidal regime is being put down by its most murderous. I mean, that's 2 great hates that hate great together. The Soviet thing and the Nazi thing. I would like to point out they were also allies for a while. Speaking of trips to Awkward Town, they're like, hey, maybe we could, I know our entire reason for existing is we hate each other, but what if we didn't? The Germans are backstabbing weasels, so, they messed it up. Yeah. Other questions? We can talk about America more. We can watch Team America, which is a documentary of America's place in the world.
We're getting into the same kind of nationalism that the Germans did. My
course
country,
we are.
right or wrong. That's not patriotism, that's nationalism.
Yep.
It's an irrational statement because we're the most powerful country in the world. We think
Sure.
we're the best country, which is a tremendous fallacy. It's a myth. It's replacing nationalism. It's become a
Sure.
religion. We've effed up in Iraq and Iran. We've changed sides
Sure.
in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan 6 times in the past
Sure.
30 years. And we wonder why the Arabs hate us. We've been
But do we wonder that? I mean, we say that, but we just tell ourselves it's because they hate freedom.
Most Americans have no idea why the people in the Middle East can't stand us.
It's because they hate freedom.
We think that we're bringing freedom to them, you know?
I mean, you know, America's a lifestyle choice. We offer everything from petrochemicals to Miley Cyrus. So why anyone would reject that is beyond me. But I mean, no, but you know what happens in this country if you question that narrative? You're a waffler or a coward, or if you even dare to say, like, maybe we shouldn't have troops and fill in the blank. Doesn't even matter where it is. People are like, how dare you? I mean, it's.
Don't you support the troops?
Precisely. Yes, that's why I want them here not getting shot
Yeah,
at.
not getting
I have this
murdered.
amazing idea about them not being dead. For a war started by other people other than themselves. That's what I'm going to say.
Maybe we don't need 6 more aircraft carriers. and
Maybe
everybody else.
we,
You can't
maybe we
suggest
do.
that.
I mean, you know, it's
How will we just possibly defend ourselves?
you know, it's a myth. There's that great scene in Futurama where they're about to go to war with the bouncy balls.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he says, we don't know anything about their language, about their culture, or what they believe in, but we do know this. They stand for everything we don't stand for. Like, that's, yeah, I mean, I don't, it's just the Miss America reaction. Goddamn Arab, Korean, Miss America. I'm like, what, she's Indian, what's happening? Why is this happening? Yeah, there's been a lot of that lately. Just Americans just frothing at the mouth. And I don't think all Americans are like this. And I think, as I said, sometimes the blind belief in American spirit and the American dream has made us do amazing things. If you see an Hoover Dam, like when we set our mind to something, we accomplish amazing things. The problem is when we set our mind to dumb things, we accomplish those also. Like, we're gonna go to war in Iraq. Who's with us? No one, don't care, let's go! And then, you know, then we realize it's a bad idea and try and change the subject. And who wants to take this over? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, we're just gonna leave it rotting on fire. Sorry, y'all.
Do you think the connection on the internet, another billion people coming on the stream in 5 years, that's changing anything?
That is the Antonio Negri argument in Multitude. That there's a critical mass big enough now, some sort of a transnational public, just as there used to be a national public in a place like France. We'll see. I mean, so far I don't think it moves our elite very much. I mean, I remember I was in those demonstrations in 2003 against the Iraq War. Those were the biggest demonstrations in the history of the human race. Like, every European capital had something like 1 million people. I mean, globally, I think it was something absurd like 20 million people. And I remember they're like, wow, there's an American here? Do you think they're gonna listen to us? No. What do you mean? But we're all upset. Like, they don't care. Like, they don't care what we think. They definitely don't care what you think, European hippie. It hasn't mattered yet, but maybe, I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to believe in the magic of the internet, especially knowing what we know now.
Right.
About how controlled an environment it is, and like this assumption that it's some sort of wild frontier where cyberpunks and hackers are sticking it to the man. I mean, you read the newspaper this summer.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, it ain't that.
You know, the whole reaction to the Syrian bombing and
Oh.
what's going on with the Arab Spring and stuff, it's like, it seems like people are seeing around the world that we don't have to live like this.
I think even Americans saw that. The American reaction to Syria, usually we're like, yeah! This time we're like,
Yeah, it's like we've done this
I feel like we've
4
been in
times.
3 or 4 wars just like that recently. Like, Americans usually have short memories, but our memory does go back as far as, you know, yesterday in Afghanistan. I mean,
Yeah.
like, literally, we're at war currently in a bunch of places that a lot of people, like, when you tell Americans we're at war in the Philippines or in Kenya, they're like, what? I'm like, no, actually, Colombia? Yeah. It's a war fought on many fronts. But, yeah, I think people are sobering up a bit, but I think ultimately the biggest problem is that we're broke. I think if the economy were going well, and if the Syrians had, like, you know, harmed a single hair on an American's head, we would just pack napalm on bald eagles and unleash it. I don't know. You know what we're like, even when we oppose war. Once war starts, we go, I mean, we we get into it, we get excited.
We're run by a military industrial complex which makes money
It does.
on either building weapons we don't need or going to war.
If we go to war, we need those weapons, man. Like, that's,
We don't.
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean,
But actually, we don't. The F-15 and the F-17 are already state-of-the-art fighters.
yeah.
The Raptor, the F-22, we don't even need. So we spend, what, 400?
Excuse me, I have constituents in Marietta, Georgia that need jobs. And,
That's the.
like, if we go to war with China on the moon, man, we might need to be ready for that. Aliens attack. I've seen Independence Day. I know what goes on. I mean, like, you just, that's the mentality, is like, you can never be too
What did
ready.
they spend? 400 million or billion on the F-35? It was
I know.
It's ridiculous.
It's often weapons the military doesn't even want, but
Yeah, they don't even want them.
I mean, we used to have so much money it didn't matter, man. And now it doesn't matter because people keep loaning us money to do it. That's the worst thing. We didn't pay for the Iraq war, China did, which is completely insane. We fought that war on a credit card, which is about as good an idea as, I don't want to question your judgment with credit cards, but I buy this meth with a credit card. I mean, just, you know, and then, oh God, it's gone. Oh, and I still owe you the money? Well, shit. So, $2 trillion and counting. Literally. So, I know, but you sound to me like you don't support the troops. That's kind of what I'm hearing. Wait, do you not believe we're a city on the hill? Like, I don't like anything I'm hearing from you. I wish Steve Colbert were here. He would know what to do.
My gun is bigger than his gun.
But I think the reason Steve Colbert works, that is what I think how a lot of Americans think. It's genius.
Yeah, it is.
It's genius.
It really is.
I mean, it's just, you know.
Yeah, the Republicans have pushed Nazi propaganda to a fine art, as far as I'm
I mean,
concerned.
the Democrats are just do that slightly less well.
Yeah,
That's well.
it's really old.
I love that argument. How could the Democrats start a war? I'm like, you mean like World War I, II, Korea, and Vietnam, which were started by Democrats? Oh, right. Oh, yeah. They're both like this.
It's really old.
Obama was more belligerent than McCain was during the election. We're going to kill Pakistan. What? Drone death. I don't even want to go to the drone thing. Now that we're fighting with American robots, I mean, it's...
If he was a white Republican, it would have been a coronation. It wouldn't have been an election.
No.
You know, the guy, you know, he can't do any right.
But he proves that the American myth is more powerful than race. Anyone can buy into it.
So there is that.
So.
The historians will have fun with this one.
Oh, they will. It's going to be embarrassing. Just the things we're going to have to explain to our grandchildren. What your idea was? What exactly? Yeah.
There are grandchildren.
I mean, they'll be here. We'll just be living under geodesic domes with gas masks speaking Chinese. But I think we'll be here. There's so many of us now. If you killed off 6 billion of us, there would be merely as many humans as there were in 1850. That's how many of us there are now. We may live in filth. Our elite may live in an orbital station like an Elysium. That would be disturbing, but they'd be floating above us, but we'll still be here pooping and dirtying up the world. I mean, I have great faith there will be many humans for hundreds of years, living in various levels of squalor. I mean, you know, we're durable, man. Black Plague, I'll kill you half of you, boom, we're back. I mean, that's what we do. I got a petri dish, which, you know. We just replace ourselves. We're amazing like that. We're like a virus. It's pretty amazing. And we have amazing ideas like the American body will do. So, anything else? Or I know that was a bit all over the place, but yeah.
From the perspective of the leaders in all these cases,
Yes.
What was it for? Was it for power, for wealth, for attention?
Yes. I mean, you know, I think it depended on the person, but yeah, I think they both had all sorts of selfish motives about being in charge and doing well for themselves, but I think they also sincerely believed they were helping the fill in the blank. Whatever the imagined collective was, I think Hitler sincerely believed he had been sent to save all Germans. I think he really believed, that's why these people were so dangerous. Or Stalin, like on one level, yeah, he was a ruthless pragmatist, but I think he really believed that the laws of history were moving in his favor and he was just carrying out history's will. I think that's why these regimes were so dangerous. I think they quite sincerely believed this. And it also happened to make them rich and powerful. But, you know, when you both have a material motive and an ideological motive, that's when magic
I would
happens.
disagree.
So,
I would think that Stalin and Hitler were just crazy. And the people under him.
I think it's a dangerous thing to say, man.
And
I think that's putting them down as a pathology, which I don't think is what was wrong with them.
But I think the people under them worked for the motives you mentioned.
I think they work for those motives too. I mean, I think you could argue it's a little pathological to be that self-absorbed and to believe that you're the Messiah. But I mean, again, I guess you and I actually don't disagree, because the big question is not why Hitler believed what he would believe. The question is, why was he made chancellor of the world's most sophisticated industrial country and not put in a rubber room? But he was a good speaker. I had a great paper. Contrary to popular opinion, Hitler was a good speaker. I think everyone knows that. But, so don't write that in your papers. Shockingly, he was good at speaking. Yes, we know. No, I think Hitler and Stalin really believed what they were saying, and the people under them believed it too. I think they were true believers. I think there's some that weren't. I think Heydrich didn't care. I think there were some that were really cynical around him, but I think he believed, quite sincerely. So,
Basically, the blind faith, the lack of skepticism,
Sure.
and appeal to authority, and
yep.
this messes up.
Yep.
This is where you get these things. All right.
That's like a religion.
What we need to avoid. Intent.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have anything to, we think we have anything to learn from any of this. We beat the Russians because they hated freedom too. And we beat the Nazis because they hated freedom and Nazi zombies and Saving Private Ryan. I don't know. We just, I don't think we feel, I think we study Nazism and feel like, God, it's so amazing to not be Nazis. I mean, that's, I think, what most Americans take away. When I look at it, I'm like, oh, so this seems a little familiar and it's creepy. I mean, we're not identical, needless to say. The conditions are very different, but I don't know. We're certainly convinced of our own amazingness to a similar degree. And one of the things that's most disturbing is how much the Nazis modeled what they were doing off the United States. That's not our fault, but whether it was the March East, or like to create the Nuremberg laws, they sent fact-finding missions to New Mexico and to Mississippi. Well, we need a bunch of laws to exclude someone for racial reasons. Oh, right, America! I mean, they just... I mean, you're in a state right now where 50 years ago, literally, well, black people wouldn't have been here at all, and if they were, there would have been separate water fountains. Here, right here.
Yeah.
2 generations ago. So, we've changed a lot, but I don't know. Damn Nazis.
See, that's what I look, how much the world has changed.
It has.
50 years.
No, I mean-
Dramatically different from.
Some things have changed a lot, and some things haven't changed at all.
You know,
And I can't entirely tell which is which.
and
Don't worry, we're gonna have amazingly insane ideas in the future as well. Like when the water starts rising, we come up with some weird environmental doom cult. I don't know, we'll see. Or Scientology becomes the largest religion in the world. Laugh all you want. If you told anybody in the year like 50 CE that Christianity was gonna be the largest religion in the Roman Empire, they would say you were psychotic. Anything's possible. The world may be evenly divided between Mormons, death worshippers, and Scientologists in 200 years. I don't know. Moon people. But I mean, you know, humans really want to, I mean, we just keep creating these ideas over and over and over again. We just seem to need this. It just makes us quite manipulable, unfortunately.
And choose the better speaker.
Often. Well, that's what American politics are. Screw the better idea. Do you look good on TV and can you sell it? And if you can't, you're done. So. I prefer the term public speaker, but yes, liar also covered. But I mean, does it even matter what they're saying is true or not? Maybe they believe it, maybe they don't. I don't know. I can't tell.
Maybe Marco Rubio, we get elected, will become a theocracy.
It'd be amazing. Why not? Handmaid's Tale. I don't know. I mean, you know, we'll see. I don't know. If things get really bad here, I have no idea how crazy we would get. Like 9/11 happened 2 more times, I'm sure we would have Arabs in camps. I mean that. I think we'd get that upset. So, I hope we don't get that as well. Prove me wrong. Like we have a South Asian Miss America, and you would think that the Saudi Arabian government like took over the United States. The reaction it's generating. Seriously.
Worried about that. That's crazy.
Goddamn Muslims taking our jobs. Because obviously Miss America is a crucial job that all of us are going to fill one day. I'm not racist, but anytime anyone starts that way,
Yeah.
I'm 98% sure what's about to come out of your mouth will be racist. But,
100%.
but it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, again, I don't think that ideas of, you know, the collective and this idea of sort of a destiny, I don't think that has to be necessarily evil. I mean, like I said, there's some moments where it's really accomplished a lot, and we have choices. I know we don't feel like we do, but I mean, you could both believe in America and occasionally say, I don't know if I want to do that thing you're saying to me right now about putting fill in the blank in a horrible place called fill in the blank. I mean, but Syria gives me some hope. People really went down. On both sides, so they were like, just kidding, Russia will fix it. We'll see. I'm glad we're not bombing them. I mean, that's a good outcome, so.
Let them fight their own civil war, get it out of their system, don't get involved, see what happens.
Magic, I think.
They said, maybe what, till the end of the Troubles just a few years ago, to stop bombing each other, right?
Yeah, Northern Ireland,
It wasn't that long ago.
no, and Northern Ireland is still not okay.
Yeah,
I mean, we were just there this summer and.
But it's not like it was, let's say, in the 70s. But
No,
even
it's
so,
better.
And that's the only place left where, like down here, I'll hear the ugliest comments between Baptists and Catholics.
Oh, no,
that you
totally.
don't hear up north, but they don't bomb each other down there. And that's the only place left of that. We had a 500-year head start on Islam, so they may have a few more centuries of doing this.
Amazingness. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
What did Europe look like for how many hundred years?
Not good. They spent about 1,500 years set on self-destruct, and then for 50 years played reindeer games together. I mean, good for them. That's awesome. Europe, this is the first time literally in a millennium and a half,
Where there's no-
it's not been destroying itself, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you get a medal for that, but congratulations, Europe. Genocide-free for over 50 years. Except for Yugoslavia, but isn't that Europe? Anyway, I mean, just, you know, World War free since the time of your grandparents.
You want me to redraw the political lines?
I mean, you know, it's something. So things do change, just not as quickly as I would like, and, you know, I just want us to use our power responsibly. As individuals, as a country, but I don't necessarily know how to achieve that. Bald eagles. Uncle Sam is terrifying too. He's like a freaky clown with like rolling his sleeves up, about to kick the Germans' ass. And it's, what is he even? He's like, I don't know, anyway, some dude. Yeah. You see him that one?
Are we done?
That's what you wanted? That's what you got.
Okay.
That's what you got.